Are the mics on?
They should be now.
Trees, how are you?
Okay.
I would not believe what happened to me, and I'm going to address it at the podium because I appreciate what the fire department did. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Well, all the fire department is here tonight, coming in for a few things too, so got that going.
Can't wait for this year to get over.
All right.
This black cloud this whole year hanging over my head.
Why don't we call the meeting to order? So at 6 p.m., I want to call to order Bruce Township Board of Trustees meeting for September 20th, 2023. Can we get a roll call, please?
Tremblay.
Here.
Philbrook.
Here.
DeGiorgio.
Here.
Raffi.
Here.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance. At this time, has everybody had a chance to look over the agenda? They have agenda in the minutes. Anybody have any additions or deletions they want to make to the consent agenda?
Nope.
Lisa, you good?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Move on to item 7.4, which is comments from the floor. So if anybody at this time wants to make a comment, please come up to the podium, state your name, your address, and we would appreciate if you could keep your comments limited to 3 minutes. So, Therese, hope so.
This is a good comment. Over Labor Day weekend, I had an unfortunate
Name and address, please.
accident.
Address, please.
Therese Servito Smith, Covered Bridge, Bruce Township. Over Labor Day weekend, I had an unfortunate accident, and I got hit in the head. And I had to call the EMS to come and take me to the hospital, and I just want to comment how professional they were. They were Johnny on the spot, kept me calm, kept me, alert in the ambulance all the way to the hospital. And, they couldn't have been more professional. And I just want you to know that I'm very proud of our EMS fire department.
Got a lot of them here tonight, so.
Yeah.
Thank you. They did a great job.
Thanks, Therese. Is
Thank you, Therese.
there anybody else who'd like to make public comment? If not, we're going to move on. Okay. I think we were going to change the agenda, I'm sorry. We're going to move the new hires, or the opinion of the new hires instead of Fuchs contract. In case they get toned out, everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
Do we have to make that motion?
Support.
Support. Make the motion, go ahead and do the, to move item
7A.
7A first before this, item 6A of unfinished business of fire chief's contract, with the opinion of the fire department first. So we'll move on to support by Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll go to item 7A, fire department opinions. Chief Nakus, you want to take?
So we're going to pin our two recruits that finally finished their probation, well-deserved, long, hard road. Proud to
Chief.
have them on the department.
You probably want to do it for
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody can hear.
that people are watching.
So we have two of our probationaries that just completed their probation, Maya and Tiffany. It's been a long road. They've been a great asset to the department, and we're happy to have them aboard. It's been awesome. So.
You want to bring them up front and get them, their family to pin them?
Yep.
Congratulations. Congratulations. If you stay on long enough, those silver badges will start tarnishing like some of these other ones you see that turn gold, so. Look forward to a long, prosperous career. Good luck. Thank you. Okay. Back on track, we'll move on to item 6A of the unfinished business, the fire chief's contract. I know that Susan and Mike, you guys met today regarding that a little bit. You want to bring us up to date on that?
Go ahead. Did you?
And we can, I think we've,
No, I gave Jenny. So you have a copy.
Yeah, we all have a copy.
if you want to just make a motion as presented, I mean, I've already
Yeah.
had an opportunity to look at it. Lisa, I don't know if you had.
Well, did everybody take a look at everything?
I'll make the motion to approve the fire chief's contract as presented with changes that were made.
And I'll support.
Motion by DeGiorgio, supported by Crafty. I'm open for discussion.
This was agreed upon by everyone here. I know Mike had addressed some concerns earlier today. You guys came to agreement. Chief is comfortable with this
Yeah, those
as
are
well?
reflected as highlights.
Okay. Very good.
Yes, Steve was okay with it.
Okay.
Hold on one second. Chief, you good? A motion by DeGiorgio, supported by Crafty. Can we get a roll call, please?
Giorgio,
Yes?
Crafty,
Yes.
Tremblay,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Crafty, yes.
Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
We can get them socks if you want to take a picture.
Why don't you guys wear your T-shirts?
I gotta know more about the sock.
T-shirts.
I'm in the dark.
These infamous T-shirts, I want to see them.
Which one, the suicide prevention one? or-
The socks, so we keep hearing about the socks T-shirt.
His image.
His image? No, yes?
Don't have one available right now.
Okay,
Make sure they show up.
thank you.
Regarding item 7B with the auditors, our auditor is stuck in traffic right now, so we're going to skip over 7B and we'll come back to that later. So we'll take item 7C, which is the Township 2023 tax rate, Form L4029. Frank?
Yeah, so that's, it's just the tax rate for the winter bill. It's really remaining the same. It is remaining the same as, same millage as we had last winter. They go on the tax bills here December 1st when we send those out. It's no change, it just needs to be approved, it's a reoccurring charge.
No vote necessary then?
Yes.
Yeah,
You want to make?
so I make a motion.
So the vote is to maintain the rates as is?
Yeah,
To approve the.
to approve the L4029 for the 2023 as presented.
Support.
Second by Susan. If there's no other discussion, can we get a roll call, please?
Giorgio,
Yes?
Crafty, yes. Tremblay,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Crafty.
I know there's a lot of questions regarding what our tax dollars, Bob put this together.
Yeah,
I
we
mean, if
put that
anybody wants to come and get a copy of this, it breaks down exactly where your millage and all your dollars actually go to very informative. They did a great job of this, and it may answer a lot of your questions. So I would recommend you come on up to Township and grab a copy. So, good job, Frank. Thanks.
Thanks.
Our auditors here? James? Jordan.
Good time.
You need to use the restroom right now after the long drive?
I'll live.
So we'll move on to item 7B of the our auditors. We got Jordan here to speak on behalf of, it's not playing right now.
So I've got a presentation. It's easy.
It's a lot of
I
paperwork.
really apologize for running late today.
Thank you.
Ran into some traffic issues on the way here.
It was perfect timing. You're good.
So my name is Jordan Smith. I'm the principal on the engagement this year. And I really need to thank Susan, Mike, Frank, and Rhonda. They really got us what we need. Bob, too. Sorry, I forgot Bob. But they really got us what we need. Without them, we couldn't do our job. They have to provide us information so we can audit it. So I really need to say thank you because it made the process on our side fairly easy. So thank you very much. I'm going to go through a presentation. You've got a full thing. I've got some notes on mine. But I'm going to highlight some key areas. I talk fast. I really enjoy what I do. If you got questions, please interrupt me. I'd be glad to answer anything I can. So the first page, or this, whatever, independent auditors report, it's page 1 through 3 of the bound report. I believe everyone got a draft beforehand. It was finalized on Monday. But to paraphrase what the independent auditors report, it is, not to paraphrase it, first, it is the purpose of the audit, is that letter. It's not to give an opinion on internal controls. It is not to give an opinion on fraud. The purpose is to give an opinion on the numbers and them being materially accurate. They're not materially misstated. So the first section there, it talks about, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects as of March 31st, 2023, the respective changes in the financial position for the year then ended. So as of March 31st, 2023, and for the year that ended, it's an unmodified opinion is what they call it. It's the best possible opinion there is. So that's very good positive thing there. The third section talks about management's responsibility, which is for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. And then at the top of the next page, it talks about the auditor's responsibility, which is, I've kind of already mentioned, but to express opinions on the financial statements based on our audit. And like I mentioned, the township got a clean, unmodified opinion, all in accordance with GAAP, which is the best possible thing you can do. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about the government-wide. That's the township as a whole. That includes all your funds, your capital assets, your long-term debt. It'd be pages 11 and 12 in the financial statements themselves. And it's a long-term perspective, full accrual basis, kind of like a nonprofit or a for-profit, what's required by FASB. We're doing GASB here, but prepared about usually once a year, only for the audited financial statement report. So just to key in a few highlights, the governmental activities have a current ratio. So your current assets over current liabilities of 5.4. You could operate, if you liquidate all that, you could operate about 5.4 times. However, the business type activities, your water fund, your sewer fund, that's at a negative 2.4. So basically, what that's saying is as of March 31st, 2023, the township would be unable to meet the current cash flow needs with that negative number, as opposed to a positive, which is very healthy, the 5.4. The year before, it was very, very similar. The negative was actually like 3.2, so it's positive. It's better this year than it was the year before in the business type activities, as opposed to the governmental activities is better too. It was like 4.6 in 2022, and now it's 5.4. So it's a positive on both ends. The next page, page 5 of the presentation. One of the things, there's the schedule of changes in employer net OPEB liability. That net OPEB liability, there's a few things. So right now, the township is funded at about $492,000, which ends up being a net liability of about $5.8 million, if I'm reading that correctly. So that ends up, you can see far left-hand column 2023, as of March 31st, 2023, you're about 8% funded. For those retiree healthcare costs, that's OPEB, other post-employment benefits, the retiree healthcare costs. The state would like to see every municipality in the state, a minimum 40% funded. You guys are at about 8% funded. So you're underneath that a little bit. Skipping to the next page. Statement of activities, it reads a little bit different, or left to right, and then top to bottom if you were to actually look at it inside the financial statements. But the governmental activities increased about 1.5 million for the year ended March 31st, 2023, and business type activities increased about $200,000. So both those are very, very positive situation, that the fact that they're increasing, which is what you want. I'm going to skip actually 2 pages in the presentation because the next one's just kind of a cover page talking about the governmental fund financial statements. So there's no long-term debt, there's no capital assets there. You can kind of see, I'm talking about the general fund here, so your main operating fund of the township. The total fund balance was 1.8 million, a little over 1.8 million. And there are 5 possibilities that could be classified as. Non-spendable, that'd be like prepaids or inventory. Restricted, some outside sources restricting that. Committed would be a board resolution to commit dollars. Assigned, and then unassigned. So either way, one of the ways we look at that is your fund balance, the unrestricted, your assigned and unassigned, over your expenditures for the year. So you ended with an unassigned fund balance of just over $1.7 million. However, you had expenditures for the year of $2.1 million. So you divide the 1.7 divided by the 2.1, you get 80%. That's a decrease of 8% from year over year. But there's a lot of ways to look at that. One of the ways I like looking at that is basically you could operate for about 80% of a year, so over 3/4 of the year. What did I write down? 9.6 months, I believe it is. Yeah, 9.6 months, so just under 10 months. You could operate that long without taking another dime. Assuming the same level of expenditures year over year, you could operate without taking another dime in your general operating fund. The GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association, recommends 2 months, 17%. You're at 80%. So from that standpoint, the township is looking very, very healthy. The next page, page 9. Statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the year ended, the 12 months ended March 31st, 2023. Revenues were about 2.33 million. Major portion, that's an increase. Let me start there. That's an increase of about $508,000 or 28% year over year. A significant portion of that increase was your ARPA dollars. Your claiming of that as revenue during the year. Fire department exercise equipment, some road projects, doors, security, cell phone tower, spent on a number of things. But that's a large part of why your revenue increased so much. There's also state share revenue of about $31,000 that came in as well that added to that too. Year over year, state share revenue year over year was about $31,000 up. Expenditures, on the other hand, increased about $437,000. So revenue increased $508,000, expenditures increased $437,000, or about 26%. Reasons revenues increased to the little over 2.1 million. Cell phone tower purchase, the governor's election increased election cost $13,000 year over year. That's normal. You get a very up and down thing depending on the election. Security system installations and maintenance stuff that had to go along with that. On the flip side, offset by, there's a huge bulk scanning of documents that was needed in the township in fiscal year 22, which cost about $35,000, and so you didn't have that in 23 nearly as much. Okay, so some graphs. Some people like seeing graphs, just other ways to look at things. Page 10, revenues, expenditures, and fund balance. The blue line's revenues, the red line's the expenditures, and the green line's your fund balance. So you want to see that blue being higher than the red, revenues over expenditures, to increase the green, your fund balance. And you can see every year, this is 5 years here, 2020, expenditures were actually higher than revenues, but every other year revenues have been higher than expenditures. So that's a positive that's adding to reserves in case you do have that rainy day type situation. And that's a sound financial situation as of 2023, as I already said. Going to the next, page 11, or it's a graph again. just breakdown of where your revenues and how they're coming in. So you can see 23% is taxes, 62% is intergovernmental. Again, that increased year over year because of the ARPA dollars. That's governmental. You can see there. So in 2022, the intergovernmental was about 49% of your total revenues. For 2023, it's 62%. I can see the dates wrong up top, so I apologize there, and I bet it is on the next slide as well, so I apologize. Property taxes, on the other hand, decrease as a percentage of your total, about 5%. It was 28% in 2022, and 2023 is 23%. And again, that's largely because the intergovernmental increased so much that other things fluctuated. Expenditures, again, I apologize, that graph's actually as of 2023. General government, which includes your treasurer, your clerk, your supervisor, your accounting, your elections, that's your general government. That makes up 69% of the township's expenditures for the year. That's not unusual for a township at all. Public safety was 15%. That's largely the fire department. And then public works 6%, and other just kind of throwing everything in 10% there. So, yeah. So proprietary funds. I'm going to talk just quickly about the water and sewer a little bit. Which would be page 17 through 19 of your financial statements. As of March 31st, I'm on page 14, or slide 14. As of March 31st, 2023, the sewer fund had an unrestricted net position of a deficit 9,861. That's actually a positive over the prior year. That's very low. The water system, on the other hand, went from about $800,000 deficit to about $1,082,000 deficit. So it's going the other way. So that's as of March 31st, 2023. So you can see on the next slide, 15, the sewer fund and the graphs, you want that blue portion to be there, and that represents the investment in capital assets. So that is all the water pipes, all the system itself. The red, on the other hand, is your available for operations, showing as negative in the past 4 years, and it's just below that line for 2023. Like I said, just under $10,000 negative. So year over year, that's positive. You're going in the right direction for that. Reducing that below the zero line there, you want to reduce that and make that above. Water system, on slide 16, on the other hand, is going the other direction. So blue, again, is your investment in capital assets, and the red is the unrestricted, what's available for operations. So you want, well, like I already said, less red, more blue, or above the line there, and so it's going the wrong way. Slide 17, talk a little bit about the calculation for our recommended minimum net position in your water and sewer funds. And right there is just a calculation of how to come up with that. When you do that, your operating expenses less depreciation times 3/12, so 3 out of 12 months, plus your debt service, plus estimate capital needs. So we just said 10% of whatever your capital asset cost was, your historical cost. Sewer would be $850,000. So right now you're at just under 10,000 negative. Our recommendation is about 850,000. Water, the recommendation for operating reserves would be about 240,000, and right now you're around negative 1 million. So just pointing out where those are and the recommendation. Independent auditors report, we do a yellow book audit, which is required based on certain loans, debt that the township has. That is in the bound report. Nothing really new this year. I'm not going to go through all that, except for to say it's in there on pages 60 through 62. But one of the items we did note in there, it's just slide 19, is fund equity deficits. So the Special Assessment District Fund has a deficit, which was a planned deficit, expending money before those special assessment revenues coming in. So it's been a planned thing. It's been that way for at least 6-7 years. And every time I look at the deficit elimination plan filed with the state, that's what it always says. It's a planned deficit, that the township has. They're just expending the money prior to the special assessment coming in. So basically, usually general fund is supplementing that until special assessment comes in and repays it. Sewer system, like I've already mentioned a few times, that's just below that unrestricted of just under $10,000. And the water system need to do something. I'm sure that's not news to you, but that's what the report says. And then the last thing, I'm actually going to skip the cover page or whatever, slide 20 to 21. Really shouldn't be a huge deal, but there's 2 upcoming pronouncements that may or may not affect the township. Subscription-based information technology arrangements. Think, easy example, this actually does not fall, but it's an easy example people understand. Microsoft 365. It's a subscription base, you pay for it monthly or whatever. If you sign a contract for more than a year, you have to realize that as long-term debt and a capital asset. So that's applicable next year. So it really depends on that. We're seeing that more at school districts than we are anywhere else. Not to say it can't be other places, but we're seeing it more at school districts when they're doing a 5-year, quote unquote, I'm gonna call it a lease for classroom technology things on their laptops or whatever the kids are using these days. I should know my kids have them, but either way. And then GASB 101 is the other one. Compensated absences, just tweaking the way compensated absence, that's your accrued sick and vacation, paid time off is recorded, that liability. It's tweaking the way that is for more consistency throughout municipalities. I know I asked about questions at the beginning, and then I raced through everything, but any questions I can try to answer?
Can you go back to page 4
Yeah.
of the report? The financial highlights?
Yeah.
The way I look at that, all 3 of those indicate a positive direction, correct?
Yes, I would agree. Year over year, that is all a positive direction.
Can you explain page 6, the line that says deferred outflows of resources? What is that?
Yeah. I could have my dates wrong, but 2014, 2015, GASB 67, 68 came about. So deferred inflows of resources, or you can have deferred outflows. So deferred outflows would be expenditures that you don't claim yet for one reason or another. So those lines there have to do with your net OPEB liability and just the timing of when the report is versus when you recognize things, the expenditures. The deferred inflow is the other way around. Timing of when you recognize your revenues. So one of the big things, special assessments, you might special assessment, I'm making this up here. I know you have special assessments, but making up here, you're special assessing 10 years, $1 million. You know, so you only recognize $100,000 of revenue every year, and that other $900,000, which is a receivable as well, and then you have deferred inflow. So it's not revenue, but it's deferred. It's a future revenue that will come in.
Got it. I know it's page 42. I'm not sure.
Yep.
With OPEB.
Yeah.
I want to get to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my notes and I want to get a reference point. Yeah, page 42. I'm looking at the OPEB liability,
Yeah.
and that was something that was, I think, over $9 million when we took office. And then I think the first year we were in, it was like 4.5. Now it's 6.3. So it's like it's creeping up again.
So as an example, page 52, if you can go down to 52 of the report.
52?
Yep. Or if you have the presentation itself, that same page is on presentation. I did pull it in here somewhere. Slide 5 in the presentation. So as you said, 9 million. So in 2019, that's when it first had to be recorded on the township's books. It was 8.28 million. But there was no trust involved, so everything was a liability. And then as it went down to 4.3 in 2021, and it's creeping its way back up. So 2023, it's 5.8, that net liability. Now you have a pension of you have a trust for that of just under $500,000. So yeah, it's going down and up. bluntly, I usually get asked how to pay that down. You put more in your trust. That's the way to do it. Or you have the market turn out incredible. 2022 was a slow market, so by the time March came around, your investments were still depressed, stuff like that. You can see in there you actually lost $8,600 on your money, but the year before you gained $15,000. So there's a lot of variables that go into that. It's a moving target. So there's really, unless you're going to fully do that, again, that's where I said earlier, the state recommends 40%.
Mike, real quick, it's been recognized that we need to do something about that, and so we are planning on, Ron is already on that, so just to give you an
Yeah, I
idea that
saw
we
an
will
email
be,
from her.
okay, so yeah, so we recognize it, and it's something we're going to be addressing, not immediately, but in the near future.
I think I had one more question,
Yeah.
maybe just more for clarification. Page 61 of the report.
Yep.
My thing is deficit spending in ALS. Trying to see where that is.
You said page 61?
I think it's probably 51, or at least that's the budget versus actual budgetary comparison for the Advanced Life Support Fund, as opposed to 61. So it's not so, the easiest way to look at that from my standpoint is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about sixth number from the bottom in the actual column on that page is 379,000 negative. So revenues were 2.48 million, expenditures were 2.86 million. So there's about $379,000. Now there's some debt proceeds to the new ambulance and stuff like that that goes in there, which comes out a positive. But ignoring that, the revenues over expenditures there was a decrease of about just under $380,000 year over year. However, kind of looking at the general fund, again, you have a ending fund balance of $1,328,000. So if expenditures were consistent, and they're not necessarily, but if they were consistent year over year, quick math in my head, you're looking at 42, 45%, something like that. That's restricted for the advanced life support. So again, consistency, you could operate for, again, 5 months, just under 6 months without taking another dime, which obviously you get taxes and you get some other stuff for that, so.
Thank you for the
Yep.
explanation.
On page 4,
Yeah, the presentation.
the 5.4, is that including the fire department?
So that includes everything for governmental, the current assets over current liability. So yes, that includes the fire department, that includes advanced life, that includes the special assessment funds, that includes everything. It's the township as a whole, including your long-term debt payments that are due in less than 12 months. So anything that would be due April 1st of 23 through March 31st, 24 is included in that calculation as well.
That's a decent, healthy number.
It is a very healthy number on a short term. Really, the net OPEB liability is probably your biggest liability that's out there, and that's a long-term number. That doesn't hit any of that current ratio.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have to make a motion to approve.
Accept the report, right? I'll make a motion to accept the auditor's report as presented.
Support?
Motion by Tremblay, support by Crafty. Do we have any other discussion? If not, can we get a roll call, please?
Tremblay.
Yes.
Crafty.
Yes.
Giorgio.
Yes.
Philbrook.
Yes.
Kraft, yes.
Motion carries.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out, appreciate it. Hope you don't hit the big, heavy traffic on the way home.
It's
Much
easier.
easier now.
It's all good. Thank you for your
Great
time. I
job,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thanks, Jordan.
Just don't head north on a Friday.
Yeah, that's it.
in the summer.
We're going to move on to item 7. 7D would be the FOIA report, or FOIA
Yeah.
appeal. Okay. So, Mrs. Fershen's not here. She sent us an email that she's not coming, correct? So she would have the opportunity at this point to go ahead and make a statement. And that she's not here, then I guess I would leave it up to Susan to give us an overview of it.
Well, it's similar to the butts thing that we did before. This is objecting, you've got the background and backup
Your
in your.
microphone, so people can-
Yeah, you've got the backup in your board pack. So the Board of Elections tells us not to do this. It's the state's programming, so we're following suit with the last denial.
I'll make a motion to deny the Fershing FOIA appeal following the rationale and recommendation of the state and direction provided by BOE.
I'll support.
Motion by Giorgio, support by Crafty. Open for discussion. You gave her the information that she wanted, correct? I mean, the file, and then,
She didn't like the amount she had to pay. You can see that everything's there.
She
so it's
received,
based on the amount that she doesn't want to pay the $65.75 to have 417 pages.
of documents. And she wanted it in an electronic format also, not a
That was the
PDF
problem.
copy.
Yes.
So you were able to give her what she wanted, but she would have had to pay the cost
Right,
if she
which
didn't.
really isn't very much when you compare us to other communities.
I agree, I think, that-
Yeah.
so. So she could still get what she wants, but she's got to pay for the time and the material and taxpayers' dollars to pay for the 417 sheets of paper and the ink that goes along with it. Got a motion by Tremblay, support by Crafty. There's no other discussion. We got a roll
No,
call.
Frank made the motion.
Oh, I'm
Giorgio?
sorry. Giorgio. Okay. Support by Crafty.
Yes.
Crafty?
Yes.
Tremblay?
Yes.
Philbrook?
Yes.
Kraft, yes.
Okay, item 7E, we would waive the conflict of interest for that's for early voting, right?
Yes.
Susan?
Yeah, well, so last month, I think we passed a resolution to do our early voting, but now the state is encouraging us to combine efforts, so we are going to combine our early voting with Washington and with Ray. It's going to be down in Washington, kind of a central location. So we have to first, because Siebert represents all three communities, we have to waive the conflict of interest.
And he's going to put together the agreement then?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to waive the conflict of interest, to put together the agreement for the cooperation agreement between Washington, Ray, is it Ray? Washington, oh, you already got it. To waive the conflict of interest for Siebert and Dolsky regarding the agreement of election services with Washington and Ray Townships, allowing our legal firm to draft the agreement, and setting up logistics of sharing a single yearly voting site for the upcoming elections, for the early voting, right?
Support.
Support by DeGiorgio. There's no other discussion. Can we get a roll call, please?
Tremblay.
Yes.
Giorgio.
Yes.
Crafty.
Yes.
Philbrook.
Yes.
Kraft, yes.
Motion carries. Moving on, item 7F would be the municipal joint early voting site agreement. Susan?
So, that's back up in your packet. This is a official agreement among the three communities.
And this was drafted by Siebert and Dolsky, I told you.
Yeah.
So the 8 days of early voting, the first 7 days are going to be held in Washington.
9 days of early voting, and all of them are
9.
going to be in Washington, yes.
The last day it'll be held in Washington also.
All of them, yeah.
And then we get reimbursed from the state if we combine our efforts like
Well,
that?
they do have grants, and that's kind of the idea behind combining, because we're more likely to get some support.
State
from
funding?
grants, yes.
You also have a schedule who's going to man it, right,
Yes.
between the three?
Yes.
No, I mean, our, like,
Challenge.
Yeah.
did we get a motion? I should wait
Yeah.
until we get a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the agreement for election services between the Chartered Township of Washington, Bruce Township, and Ray Township as presented.
Any support?
I'll support it.
Motion by DeGiorgio, support by Tremblay. Okay, now, open for discussion. In regards to our precinct, are we going to have election workers there every day? Are we going to share workers or share them?
I think it's on page
We all.
9 of the agreement.
We all have sent out surveys and contacted election workers to have volunteers come in.
Page 9 shows which municipality, right, where the clerk is responsible.
Yep.
So we alternate them.
I take Lori as the clerk for Ray.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mary down in Washington and Amy here, going to be working together along with Lori.
And we have to move our voting equipment to that site? All of it or just some of it?
No, we have to work out all the logistics yet, but
Okay.
no, we'll probably just have, I don't know how many machines yet, but
So technically, there's no voting going to take place here at the church at all then?
then on actual voting day, then we go back
The
to
last
the
day,
normal.
okay.
Well, that's totally separate from these 9 days.
Yeah.
So they're 9 days ahead, and then there's a day
Gotcha.
off on Monday, and then Tuesday is election day.
Okay. Then we move all the equipment back here.
Well, we won't use our equipment, they're designated machines, so.
We got a motion by DeGiorgio and support by Tremblay. I have no other discussion if nobody else does. Get a roll call, please.
Giorgio,
Yes?
Tremblay,
Yes.
Philbrook,
Yes.
Craffey,
Yes.
Kraft, yes.
Okay. Moving on, item 7G would be the early voting site resolution. Susan?
Yep, this is just the resolution that puts forth the plan.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the early voting site resolution as presented.
I'll support. Is there any discussion? If not, could we get a roll call, please?
Giorgio,
Yes?
Philbrook,
Yes.
Craffey,
Yes.
Tremblay,
Yes.
Kraft, yes.
I think Bob Siebert's an attorney also for Ray Township, so that's going to work out pretty good. He's going to represent in all three communities. He just-
Right, and we share costs, so that's
Right.
nice too.
Okay, wonderful. I'll move on to item 7H, which is the clerk's office new hire.
Yep. So I gave you everybody a copy of the job description. It has been posted on our well, it's posted in the office now for 7 days. It's on our website, it's posted on Indeed and MTA and Clerks Association website,
Was it on the county also?
County Clerks.
County clerks, okay.
And we've gotten a lot of applicants, especially from Indeed. So we've been interviewing, and I'm waiting on the 7 days because internally, it has to be posted for 7 days. So just to have it, so we're ready to go. Put it on the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the hiring of the full-time accounting clerk effective October 2nd, 2023, following the application interview process.
I'll support.
We have a application, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where's the application?
No, you have the job description, that's what that is.
The application was submitted through Indeed, through Macomb Township Associate.
But we don't have an applicant.
There were several applicants. We just, we're not
Dozens.
approving a specific applicant tonight, or we're just approving to.
Do
The
hiring.
application and
hiring.
interview process. Do the hiring.
This has already been, it's already been approved in our budget for this
For
position.
the new hire.
Yeah.
And it is to replace the part-time.
Right, and I'm also
Position
combining
left.
things, 'cause I want to make sure that we have some overlap, and if we were to lose someone again, then there's still someone in the office who can do the utility billing, for example, or the accounting. We're going to cross-train it this time.
Is there any other questions or conversation?
I mean, I'd like to have had a little bit more, because I think that maybe to look at the job description, I think that some of the work that did go over to the other side of, into the planning commission, when that job went full-time, could maybe come back into this position
Like,
here.
nothing went over, you keep saying that, nothing got changed. You can't do that with a job description. You have to.
There's a lot of work that went to that side of the hallway that's overwhelming that one worker over there.
I think what happened during that, in the previous administration, there was work that was not being done over there, but was being done by an elected official, and then then it just all got dumped on her. So I think that's where the confusion is. But again, it's not my area, but that's what I hear anyway.
I just don't feel that with the work that's here, that there's a need for a full-time position. There's not enough.
You don't know what
work
goes
for a
on over
full-time
there, though,
position.
Mike. I mean,
Yeah, that was
there's
already
billing.
approved,
I
we've
see
already approved that.
What's going on there right now, a lot of times, the lady just sits there and doesn't do anything except for answer the phone, which is good to have a receptionist, but I know there's a lot that's going on, I'm not that naive. But I also know what's going on the
And
other
Mike,
side of the
and I'd like to
planning
see a
commission.
list from you as far as what are the
I
additional.
just got this tonight, that's another thing, I just received this tonight, did you get this
Mike, it's been hanging in
before?
the kitchen
Mike, it's-
for more than a week.
Okay,
But the-
time out, Mike. I'm trying to respond to your first comment that said, you said a lot of responsibilities have transferred back over to an individual in the building department? Is that?
Planning and zoning, the
Planning and
job
zoning.
description, when that
Okay.
job went full-time, I don't know if you remember all that went on during that time, and we had everybody here that was totally opposed, speaking at the podium to that job becoming full-time. That job is excessively full-time.
Okay.
And right now, with the workload that's there, is bogging down the one worker that I have that is a very good worker, that is having a hard time keeping up with with what we have going on.
Okay, so I guess my question is, what you had said originally is a lot of additional responsibilities came over.
For the clerk's office, I see on here the duties to help out, assist the deputy clerk in the clerk's office, but there's nothing in there that says anything about any of the other departments to help out or assist anywhere else.
I think that goes without saying that every.
Well, I don't think so.
It should be, there should be a statement in every job description that says, and additional duties as required
It
by
says
the
that.
township.
It says that on here.
And then it is then determined for every department, not just for the clerk's office, not just for the treasurer's office, but for planning and zoning, for, for assessment, for everything. Everyone should be working together as far as I'm concerned. If there are specific comments that you made regarding specific responsibilities that have now been turned over to planning and zoning that weren't previously the responsibility, I'd like to see a list of that, and let's.
Well, I'll start with the trust and authority accounts, the TNA accounts for one thing that we're not over there.
I'm asking you if we can please have a list of those things so we can
When
have
do
an
you want me to
open
prepare that?
discussion.
I-
For, let's put it down then for the next meeting if we need to. I mean, I'm very open to having this discussion. I just think we need to know specifically what you're referring to. And I'd like input from both the clerk's office and from planning and commission as far as what do you feel hasn't been handled appropriately or what has been turned over that was previously part of the clerk's roles and responsibilities. So I'm just a little confused as far as that goes. I don't want to get into, people are sitting around and talking. I know how hard every department.
I'm not saying nobody
every
doesn't
person
work, I'm
works.
just saying where the free time is at, though. There is free time here.
I think everybody goes through peaks and valleys,
I agree.
depending on the time of year it is, okay? Because I could sit here and say the same thing. We've been working big-time hours the last 3 weeks. I'm the first one in here in the morning, I'm the last one to leave. It's so, if we want to talk about workloads, I think everybody has their own department. Everybody should evaluate their own department as far as the workload that is in there and determine whether they need to petition to hire somebody else, whether it be full-time or part-time.
I'm with Lisa that I would like to see a description of specifics, Mike. I mean, you gave one example, of trust and.
What about the ordinances? The ordinances got moved over. The whole filing cabinet came from one side of the hallway to the other.
Take a look at those and maybe perhaps discuss.
It's more work that came out of that office and moved over to this
Mike,
other
what does she do
office.
with the ordinances?
It's part of the job. It's a new job, it's in her job description. It's one of those things that she received when she became full-time over there. I don't see full-time position.
Well, we already approved that.
That was approved back when we were doing the budget, like.
Yeah.
But I just still don't see the full-time position in that job. I mean, I just don't see the workload there, myself personally.
Well,
Do you know what they do?
And I thought part of it was with the changes in the
The
election.
monthly billing should be,
process as well.
I know it's still being worked out, but that's all computerized now. It is a lot easier than it used to be with having to enter everything in the,
I'd also like to validate the number of hours every employee is working too.
you know, it just sounds to me like you've already made up your mind.
No, I
You don't,
haven't. Mike,
how
I
much
just-
time do you spend here during the day to see what's really going
I
on?
don't, Mike, and that's why I'm asking you for some additional
doing this-
information. And you're getting very.
When the planning commission job was going to go full-time, I don't even know if you remember how many
I supported
people,
the planning commission.
how many people were in there from this clerk's office that were against that full-time
Who
position?
cares? It was approved
cares?
by
The
the board.
board makes a decision.
My
I care
point-
because
my
the
point
fact
is
of the
this,
matter
Mike,
is-
being very defensive, all I'm asking
There is not
for-
enough work here for a full-time person, on top
Well,
of the other positions that are in the clerk's
It was already approved by the
office.
board back 3 months ago.
Then change the job
So
description
I'm
to make
saying
it more
if you
of a
have
full-time
problem-
position.
If you have a problem with the planning commission person, then let's sit down and have a very non-confrontational discussion about it. You're getting very confrontational and.
Well, I can see it's
confrontational.
one-sided. It's
No,
me
how-
against everybody else
No,
because
Mike, I'm asking you for
you
additional
don't even let me finish
information.
talking.
Well, please let me
You've already
finish.
got your opinion already figured out.
No.
I've seen that you've already talked to a few people about this position.
Didn't-
It's obvious that this is what's going on here.
You know what, Mike, you can say whatever you
Well,
want.
maybe
but
I'm wrong.
I don't appreciate your
Correct me.
personal opinions of what I'm saying. I've asked you for additional information. Mike Tremblay has agreed. He'd like to see what are the additional responsibilities that have come along since this position has gone full-time, so that we can make an honest assessment of what's going on and how do we solve the problem. If they are truly responsibilities that should be.
Determine that, well, you,
think
And
it's the-
what are those responsibilities? I don't
Right,
know what
we
you're
need to know
talking
what
about,
those are.
Because the ordinances are kept over there because she moved them over there, but.
she
what
was,
does have
she didn't
access-
move them over there. She was given that responsibility with her new job description, with her new job. It was
Files.
pushed on her.
And what does she do with the ordinance? Like, she uses the ordinance for planning. That's why they're helpful to her. But there's
What about the
no-
trust and authority account? Keep
Well, she
that track
has-
of that is another responsibility that she has.
But she has to have a role in that because she takes the money and she works with the, with the
What she does is
developers.
she enters that into the computer, a receipt is created, and then it comes over to the treasurer's office, and we scan it, take the money, and give her a receipt.
Yeah.
And
Did you
balance
have
it
to
out and keep it
reconcile it?
balanced and reconcile it with
That's
Rhonda or
all
with
done- yeah,
Linda.
That's all done by computer. Once we get that receipt and scan it, it gets put in the proper.
Make it sound like it's a real, it's just like it's only a 5-minute job, which it's
No,
not.
we know
No, I'm
better
not
than
saying that. I'm just explaining to you what the process is, what she does with the TNA.
Somebody
Yes,
needs
Takes
this,
the money, she does print out a bill, an invoice, we get it, we scan it, give it back to her.
somebody needs to spend some time in the planning and zoning department to see what's going on.
I think it's worthwhile to see what Mike has.
And that's